Watching Detroit's own WHPR TV, Detroit Live.
Tamla Morris Brown, CEO of Aaliyah's Motivation of Women. Tamla's pain is her motivation, which is also her battle cry. Join her in her leadership to bring awareness to fibromyalgia. Let's make a difference and bring the end to 24 hours, 365 days a year of pain. Tamla Morris Brown can be reached at 313-289-4090. That's 313-289-4090. Join her if you or somebody you know has fibromyalgia. Tamla, a soldier in pain.
Even the pale skin was made in our image. Read the book of Ruth and check out your lineage. It's the melanin that gives us a dark complexion. That's a gene, no color separation.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for tuning in to the Think Tank Show. My name is Sister Katrina Muhammad. You're a little Muslim sister, and I'm really happy to be with you today on this beautiful and very hot Friday. First, let me begin in the proper way, which is greeting you with Assalamu alaikum, which means peace be unto you. I want to make sure you know that. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah and that Muhammad is his messenger. I'm a student of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad as well as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Obviously, I'm in the Nation of Islam, if you did not know that. But I look a little different today. I'm wearing a draped scarf. That's what this is. On my head is a draped scarf. And also I have braids in my hair today. I haven't worn braids in a really long time. So yes, they are feeling a little tight, but it's all good. I love to support our sisters who are African braiders. You see the shops along the way. I won't promote the shop I went to today, but I'm just going to say thank you to those ladies. They did an excellent job, and I enjoyed myself there. Brother Cook Bay sends the greetings to you of Assalamu alaikum. He will not be with us today. He's going to give me the wonderful opportunity to discuss a very important subject with you. And that subject is envy and jealousy. There's a document here that I want to read a little bit of, and I want to encourage you to call in if you are going through some hateration on your job or wherever it is that you might be experiencing envy and jealousy. There's a document here that reads, Envy and Jealousy, the Mother of Murder by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We also say the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And when I first got this document, it really explained a lot to me. And I'm just going to say that as a young woman, I have experienced envy and jealousy and hate for a number of reasons, from my own people, right, from black people, as well as from others of other ethnicities on the job or what have you. I've worked in situations where I was the only black woman in the division or on the team, and that came with its own set of stress. And then I've worked in all black environments where I still experienced envy and jealousy, and it could be very, very hurtful. I think when I was much younger, I definitely was very tender-hearted, and I would literally be injured. I'd be so hurt when I would see black people hurting other black people. So we need to talk about this subject of envy and jealousy so that we can work our way through it, understand where it comes from, how to handle it, how to be stronger. And if you yourself maybe have been envious or jealous of someone or something, how you can help yourself out of that condition, out of that situation, because there is a solution. So I want to begin reading to you, and I'd like to encourage you to call in because, I'd love to talk to the viewers. It reads, the following appeared in Muhammad Speaks, which was the name of the newspaper before the Final Call. Some of you buy the Final Call. Well, before it was changed to that name of Final Call by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, it was entitled Muhammad Speaks. So this was dated November 12, 1971. It reads, today, after suffering all types of deprivation, suffering personal sacrifice, and plain ingratitude, after 40 years of struggle, Messenger Muhammad is shining forth as the greatest leader of any nation. And we are thankful to Allah, God, Master Fard Muhammad, to whom praises are due forever, for raising and teaching and giving Messenger Muhammad to us who believe and follow him. In the last 4 chapters, we have tried to show who and what is behind the usually great rise of Messenger Elijah Muhammad. We tried to show the majesty of his position with Allah and the universal order of things as given in the Bible, the Holy Quran, and other scriptures. And that's important that I say that because many people don't know in the Nation of Islam, we do study out of the Holy Bible as well as the Holy Quran. Now, we must look squarely at that final trial he and the Nation of Islam must pass through in order to arrive to the place prepared for the messenger and those with him by Allah. To continue the above quote, as the holy flame of divine success grows stronger, giving us a preview of the rise to greatness of the greatest nation under the guidance of Messenger Muhammad, the unholy flame of envy grows in its intensity. As these words show the success, the greatness, the praise, and the overall position of the messenger and the nation at the time of this writing, it is but an indication of that which will be the case in the future. And this was a major trial that the Nation of Islam went through, separating the first generation of what we call the first generation when the most honorable Elijah Muhammad was among us, and then current present day right now under the divine leadership of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. That future is the subject of the last 2 chapters of this work. Meanwhile, the following words of the Messenger Muhammad forms the subject of this and the next chapter. And so now I'm going to begin reading to you his words on envy and jealousy. So he starts out with this first sentence, which I think is profound. He says, an envious person is the worst kind of person because he will kill you, plain and simple. And that's where envy leads to, people with jealousy and envy in their heart. We first read of envy in the Bible in the history of Cain and Abel. Abel was divinely favored. Cain became envious of his brother. He came to hate his brother. Out of his envy and hate, he killed his brother. Abel did nothing to earn the envy of Cain. The envy of Cain sprang from his own heart. Cain's envy gave birth to an unjust hatred of his brother. Abel's death at the hands of his brother was totally unjustified, and Cain paid dearly for his wicked deed. Joseph's brothers were envious of him because God favored him for his own wise purposes. Korah was the same towards Moses. Saul tried several times to kill David out of envy. And it is written in the Bible that the main motive involved in the betrayal of Jesus to his enemies, according to the Bible, was envy. Envy can be seen as a major factor affecting the destinies of men and nations in both the scriptures and in the writings of many about this world for the past 6,000 years. Envy has been and is a major factor shaping the history of America and the black people in her midst. It has been and still is a major factor in the relations between black brothers and sisters in this country. Therefore, envy has been an evil reality that Messenger Muhammad has had to deal with from the start of his mission. What is envy? And so now we're going to break this down to understand what is envy? Where does it come from? To really understand what it's all about and how we can cure ourselves and help other people, maybe people that we know, help them understand what envy is. So what is envy? What are its roots? What is it destructive of? It is often said that envy is self-destructive. Why? And how does envy differ from jealousy? How are envy and jealousy manifested? What has this thing envy to do with Jesus? So dictionaries are of little or no help in defining the state of mind and feelings that the word envy represents. See, this is called the Think Tank Show. So we want to go beneath the surface of the definition of the word envy and jealousy. Anyone can pick up a phone on Google and look that up. What I'm giving you today, inshallah, which means God willing, is why this happens, its connection to the body and the spirit. Okay, so let me continue. However, if you ever probe the study of morality, you will find that the extent to which envy influences vital issues is avoided publicly by most writers, teachers, politicians, scholars in all fields, and so on. Envy is sneaky. It wears many faces or disguises. Have you ever considered that is all but impossible to depict a person posing by him or herself in a picture in a manner that tells any viewer that the person is envious? So in other words, you can't just look at a person and see envy on them, right? You are able to identify envy in a person through their actions. So if you pay close attention to what a person is saying, what a person is doing, how they're treating other people around them, that depicts and helps you understand envy in a person. So if you were to draw an envious person, how would that person look? Why is it so hard? Because there is no exact look necessarily on a person's face or otherwise that's going to tell you a person is envious. The reason is due to the fact that envy in a person cannot be detected apart from that person's relation to the one he or she envies, right? So envy is an emotion that is directed towards another. Without the other, a target or a victim, envy cannot happen. You can show fear, happiness, anger, or grief, for example, far more easily than you can show envy, and such as pictures, sculptures, etc. It is not easy to portray the state of mind of a person who despises another for having a reputation or for having some skill which the envier not only lacks to some degree, but would rejoice at the other's loss of such assets, though that loss would not mean a gain for the envier. In a dictionary, it states, is that discontented and mortified feeling which arises in the selfish heart in view of the superiority of another, nearly tantamount to jealousy. That is the definition of envy. But I'll give you some scriptures that you can go to, which is very important. So I hope you have a pen and pencil. You know I love to give information, and I definitely, as a teacher, love to give homework. So this is our homework today. Let's go and open up our Bibles, and let's read Psalms 37. Let's read Psalms 73, verse 3. Proverbs 24, chapter 24, verse 1. Philippians chapter 1, verse 15. That all deal with envy. The dictionary goes on to say that malignant passion which sees in another qualities which it covets and hates their possessor. There's a couple of more scriptures for you. Proverbs 27, verse 4. Matthew 27, chapter 27, verse 18. And Romans chapter 1, verse 29. Please go back and read all of those to help you understand what God has said about envy and jealousy in the Holy Bible. From this alone, it should be clear that envy is a complex thing. Complex though it is, it can be understood. Let us take our time and take a good look at this thing found in the human heart called envy. So where does it actually exist? It's in the heart. Okay, it's in the heart. And that's very important. I hope you make a note of that and remember that. And please feel free to call in because I want to hear about your stories of any type of envy or jealousy that has happened to you. I currently just had a conversation with a dear friend of mine whose spouse is going through envy and jealousy, so much so that that person is being forced off the job to another location. And this is someone who is black working around other black people. So this entire thing of envy and jealousy, I believe, is the reason why we don't have the type of unity that we need to exist in our community to make us all successful. I think the root of that is envy and jealousy. And so this document in the messenger goes on to say, and what Allah permits, he permits for his own good reason. This is not to say that envy is good in itself, but this is to say that there is some good purpose in Allah Himself that envy serves, as it is a part of the whole evil permitted by Allah. Now that's a lot in terms of what I just said. Essentially, what I am saying to you that everything happens for a reason. I'm saying that Allah, God, is the master of all circumstances. And if you have found yourself in a situation where people are envious of you, people are jealous of you, people are actually trying to attack you because of their envy and jealousy, that Allah is allowing that to happen. Now, what does that mean? Allah doesn't want, at the end of the day, your destruction. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that everything serves to include negative things, and the devil himself has to submit to God. Okay? And everything that happens for a reason and for our salvation. This is very important because, when I went through some situations of envy and jealousy, and I mean, I was just so hurt, crushed, right? But when you grow up and you study a little harder and you mature, I should say is a better word than grow up, you start to see why things happen. And then you become stronger in your faith, especially the more that you study and the more that you read. And this is what has happened to me. And I'm so very thankful to Allah God for the fact that I have that understanding, because it has made things easier for me to understand why those things happen. Okay. So again, I want to make sure that you have the phone number. It's at the bottom of the screen. If you want to call in to talk about your situation, then I welcome you to do so. But let me finish reading this part to you. The messenger goes on to say, this tells us that we must take a good look as we ponder at this thing called envy. A good look in this sense is a look at corresponding to God's way of looking, since evil in general and envy in particular could not exist but for Allah's permission. So everything happens by Allah, God's active and permissive will. So envy becomes possible when two people become capable of mutual comparison. It is how one compares his or herself to the other that determines whether or not envy occurs. Again, envy is the drive or an urge to compare oneself invidiously with another. To compare oneself invidiously is to compare oneself to another in an unthinkable, alien, hostile, producing comparison. Invidious once had the meaning of envy. The envier sees the possessions of others, both material and immaterial. The envier would like to see the one he or she envies disposed or deprived of his or her possessions. Moreover, the envier would like to see the envied humiliated and or hurt for having had those possessions. This is how the envier feels, right? Yet the envier wants no envy in return. The envier feels that what you have in some way injures himself or herself, regardless of how justly you may have gained what you have. You may have spent years developing that skill or saving for that house that you have. It makes no difference to the envier. He or she feels pained. Understand that. They feel personally pained that you have what you have. So if you're driving around in that nice whip and you pulling up to that nice house and, that beautiful woman is getting out that car or whatever, that house, greeting you with a hug and a kiss, and then you got another guy, as some of my brothers might say, laying in the cut in the back, giving you side-eyed looks, mean mugging you because they're looking at all of this and they don't even really know you. You're like, this person got a problem with me. I don't know why they have a problem with me. I don't even know them. They don't know me. Like, what's the problem? Like, they've never even said anything to me, but yet they looking at me all the time like they want to kill me. Like, what is the deal? Why is this person giving me a problem? It's because that person has envy and jealousy in their heart. They see what you have and they feel pain that they personally do not have those things. They don't know how hard you've worked for that. They don't know, the things, the schooling that you've, done, the working 2-3 jobs or saving money. And, they don't know any of that about you. And they don't care because at the end of the day, they have a problem, a disease in the heart. That's where it all comes from. So see, now when you break it down like that, then you understand, and you're not, it doesn't become, you don't have to get emotional about the fact that someone is hating on you or envious of you or jealous of you, because now you understand their thinking. So let's go on further with what the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad has taught us about this subject, which is envy and jealousy is the mother of murder. This was the name of the lecture given November the 12th, 1971, in Muhammad Speaks. It was printed in Muhammad Speaks. So it says, you may have spent, oh, I read that part, excuse me. He or she feels pain that you have what you have. The envier feels a lack or feels in some way inferior to you for the fact that you have whatever you have. Vindictiveness, malice, aggression, unjust anger, self torment, and selfishness are elements of the frame of mind and state of emotion of the envious person. Did you catch all of that? Vindictiveness, which means someone trying to, get back at you or whatever. Malice, aggression, someone being very aggressive towards you. Unjust anger. All of that are the elements of the frame of mind and state of emotion of the envious person. The envier wants both to acquire and also to see destroyed the possessions of the one that is envied. So, in other words, they want to do both. And this is someone who's really perplexed and confused and really, I think, in pain, quite honestly. They want the things that you have, but they also want to destroy the things that you have. So imagine walking around like that, living like that, okay? The envier's thinking is such that he feels that if, for example, the envied one lost a leg, an eye, or whatever, that he or she is somehow advanced, that's obviously insanity. Because someone else, losing something that they have is not going to somehow magically put the other person on top. But the envier thinks like that. So yes, it's insanity. You cannot appease the envy of an envious person, even if you show him or her greater kindness or remove that which his or her envy is directed, such as possessions. You will find the envy directed to some other possession or to some good trait or quality you have. So there is no, making nice with an envious person. I think maybe if I just buy them coffee in the morning, that person hating on me at work, they'll stop, they'll like me, right? Or maybe if I invite the brother, to the movies or something, or buy him dinner or whatever, maybe he'll like me. He will be nicer to me. Once a person has been inflicted with this disease of the heart called envy and jealousy, there is no making nice with an envious and jealous person. It doesn't happen. You can be nice all day, and their envy and jealousy will not stop. Their hateration of you will not stop because they have a diseased heart. So it just doesn't go away like that. Okay. So it is an uncreative quality. And what is the it? Envy and jealousy is what we're talking about. And why are we talking about this subject? For those of you who just tuned in, we're talking about envy and jealousy because we have to stop the hateration in the black community. We have to stop hating on each other. I mean, let me give you another example. For the young people who are listening to Jay-Z's new album, and his new album is 444, right? 4:44. And anybody who knows and has been keeping up with Jay-Z and his wife Beyonce, that the numbers 4 have a meaning to them. I believe they have the numbers 444 tattooed on their hands, on their ring finger, I believe. And so they have some type of meaning inside thing for them both as a couple. And so that's the name of his album, okay? And if you Google his album, I'm pretty sure, some songs will come up, or snippets of his songs will come up that'll give you an idea of the new direction where he's taking his album. And I listened to it. And I've heard some of the lyrics that talk about the importance of having good credit, the importance of being owners, of buying your home, not renting, buying artwork, things like that. And so 50 Cent, the rapper, was asked to comment on Jay Z's new album. And I won't read the quote of his comment, but I will say that it wasn't favorable. In fact, 50 Cent said something to the extent that he thought Jay Z's new album was, quote, too smart, right? And so in my mind, it took me back to, black children being teased for being smart in school and people not even wanting to appear to be smart because they would be teased, called nerds, geeks, whatever. But at the end of the day, being smart and getting A's and not flunking out of school is the goal. You should want to be smart. You should want to be an A student. You should want to strive for excellence. So, what is this thing all the way in childhood where we criticize each other for striving for the A, striving for excellence, striving to do what we know is best to do? But we criticize each other for that. So, yes, 50 Cent recently called Jay-Z's new piece of work, his new musical creation, too smart. And I thought that that was just ridiculous and the height of envy and jealousy of him, just really revealing how envious and jealous he is of Jay-Z. But hey, he has a right to his opinion. I don't know how you feel about Jay-Z's new album, if you've had an opportunity to listen to it. Maybe we can talk about that on the show one day. So let me get back to this right here. It says, insidious and secretive. This is what envy is. Burrowing away and undermining. Some of the most eminent people in the world are filled with envy because others have a little more glory than they. You can see envy in the theatrical and film professions, among artists, writers, politicians, even in the church. Even in the church. So envy is an emotion or a state of mind that hinders the good the envier could do for himself or for others. Let me read that. The envier could do for himself or for others. It is an obstacle that obstructs its owner in the way of self-benefit. Envy is a disturber of the peace. It could never be among the qualities on which you could build a lasting society. So whenever you see or have envious or jealous people in the mix, it's going to always be problems. It's going to always be unpeaceful. And that's why some people I talk to me say, I go to work and this one woman, she just don't want to get along. She just, it's just no pleasing her or it's no pleasing him. And it's just always some drama with them. That's because an envier and a jealous-hearted person, there can be no peace. There can never be peace with them in the mix and among you because they have a diseased heart. They need help. Okay? So please understand that it doesn't miraculously just go away over time. There is no making nice with the envier. There is no, if I do this, that, or the other, they'll like me. That does not happen with the envier, right? So envy indicates a weakness of character. Where envy is, there is the absence of generosity, charity, and brotherliness. Those things do not exist when envy is on the scene. Generosity, charity, and brotherliness. It just doesn't happen. In fact, it is impossible to feel both envy and kindness towards the same person at the same time. Love, in the fullest and best sense of the term, is the opposite of envy. Love and hate can have redeeming features depending on what is being loved or hated and why. Envy, however, has nothing in it to recommend it under any circumstances. That is so profound and heavy. In other words, no, it's not a redeeming characteristic or quality. Okay? No one wants to be seen as envious, yet many are. There are many instances in which envy is revealed. For example, a person may not want you to enjoy the same privileges he has. He may be in some higher position than you. He may also have control over some items that would make life easier than you now have it. But this person withholds the items from you that you may have had a right to. Your comfort is not his objective. He wants you to be uncomfortable. This illustrates the evil nature of envy. So yes, that manager on the job who could provide resources to you to make things easier, to make you accomplish the mission or the goal, they don't give you the supplies. They don't give you what you need. Maybe another person needs to be hired in the department to help make and create comfort and success for everybody. But the envier, they never do it. For some reason, it's never in the budget. So, I mean, when you understand the thinking and the heart of an envious and jealous person, then it really helps you understand what you need to do, how you need to handle yourself, what you can expect to come out of the situation. So I really want you to think on what has been said, and I'd love for you to call in. The number is 313-868-0351, 313-868-0351. Also, you can call 868 4336, 313-868-4336, and the number's at the bottom of the screen. Look who just joined me. It's my brother, Cook Bay.
Brother's Cook Bay. She called me Cook Bay, and I'm Sutton Bay.
Sutton
so
Bay.
It's going to be a problem up
Sorry.
here. You know, Sonya, she up
It's
in
hot.
Who the
These
hell
braids
is-
are tight.
She like, who the hell is Cook Bay?
These
Brother
braids are very tight. I'm so sorry.
They so tight.
It's hot.
It's so tight. She calling me Cook Bay.
They're so tight. I feel like I had a facelift. The sisters who are watching me know when you get your hair braided, it takes like a good week before you can just kind of be yourself again. So I do apologize.
Shout
Brother
out-
Sutton Bay.
Shout out to Sister Cook Bay, Maxim Cook Bay.
Yes, she was on my mind.
She was contacting me. She was a part of the African festival that jumped off on Finkel and Telegraph. But
Okay.
the reason why I came in because you didn't think I was going to be here.
I did.
And I talked to you in on Victor Street, and I was like, sister, you got to go up in here and do your thing, yada, yada, yada. And the whole thing is that people want to know why do I make the decisions that I make for the Think Tank show as far as what sister or what brother is put in place to do whatever they do. And this is the reason why I made the decision that I made with Sister Cook Bay.
Sister Cook Bay.
Sister Katrina Muhammad. And
That's so funny. You
and
got me.
but the thing that the whole thing is what people need to understand is what's important is what we're feeding our people. And when you look at the topic of envy and jealousy, it is something that is a parasite on our community.
It is.
If I have a pair of top 10s or I have a pair of Michael Jordan gym shoes, the next brother or sister may hate on me because I have that and they can't afford it, or they wanted it and they seen somebody else that had it. And a lot of times that hate and that jealousy leads to other things.
It leads
like
to murder. I
murder,
mean, our young
armed
people
robbery.
have been killed for gym shoes because somebody
Exactly.
saw those Jordans and they envied them and they were jealous of them and they wanted them. And so they actually took the life of someone over a pair of shoes.
Now, me being a brother who is a member of the Moore Science Temple of America, now this is a wet towel. This is a wet towel. And this wet towel has cold water on it. So it's to keep me warm because the humidity is something else out on the outside of this particular
To keep
place.
you cool.
But this particular towel, on the face of it, it has a FOI.
Wow.
Now, I'm a member of the Moore Science Temple of America, but I got a towel that keeps me cool with cool water, cold water on it, and I have it on my head, but it has a FOI on it. Why should that be a problem? Why should I be envy and jealous of the Nation of Islam and or the FOI because they're doing something that I would like to do with my brothers and sisters? Well, the whole thing is that just get out and do it. See, the brothers and sisters in the Nation of Islam is brothers and sisters that I admire. And the reason why I admire them is when you see a sister like Sister Katrina Muhammad, how she's dressed. She has on a head wrap or a draping scarf, and she is
praises
dressed
to
modest. And that within itself, it gives me a particular degree of pride that I don't get from another type of beauty in our community. Not to say that our sisters is not beautiful because they got on dresses that we don't agree with,
Right.
or they dress a certain particular way that's not in agreement with the teachings of Islam. That don't mean they're still not beautiful,
Right.
because they are.
Right.
But I fancy when a sister knows her worth and she's able to dress a certain particular way that gives or shows or illuminates our culture and our ethnicity as
Praise be
brothers
to
and
Allah.
sisters who was kidnapped
Right.
from Africa
That's
and
right.
brought over here into this wilderness that we know to be today as North America
North
and
America.
or the United States of America.
Mm-hmm.
Because we know the North America, it also comprises of Canada. So I want to be specific and say the United States of America,
Right.
that particular portion of North America.
Right.
So when we look at when you're educating our brothers and sisters the way that you're educating them and giving them an understanding of what envy and jealousy and hate is all about, this is universal because envy, jealousy, and hate, it has the definition the same no matter where it is.
That's right.
It may differ. It may differ from culture to culture, but envy, jealousy, and hate is a disease that's within our community that's causing us to be parasitical
Right.
towards one another.
That's right.
That makes that is
Do you know a terminology I shared with someone, and they reminded me because I read this article to them the other day and said, "Wow, that's really good. You should share that on your show," and that's why I brought it. Is a piranha culture, and I don't know if our viewers are familiar with the fish,
the piranha
the
fish.
piranha fish, but the piranha fish, they eat each other. Like they eat anything that's in the tank. They just attack. Okay, so if someone, you don't even want to put your hand in there because they'll bite you, you know, and keep biting you. So we have that piranha culture in our community, and it's not like we don't know where this came from. We know exactly where it came. It came from the Willie Lynch syndrome. That's a whole nother show in and of itself. I bought a book on that, and I want to feature that
That's
as one
a
of our
whole nother
books.
month within
I'm
itself.
trying to tell you. I mean, because there's so much that came from the Willie Lynch syndrome of coming over here as slaves, being kidnapped, taking our land, our culture, each other, mothers and babies were separated, husband and wives were separated, and literally stripped down to nothing. I mean, you take a person's language, you take a person's religion, you round up all of the elderly and kill them all, and then you take the children. Yes, of course we would be brainwashed. Of course we would be made into whatever they wanted to make us into. And that's where this envy and jealousy in our community comes from. And it's been existing. And people, I guess, sometimes don't want to talk about it. They don't want to call it out, but we have to call it out.
Because there's some brothers and sisters that's envious and jealous of the fact that you and I are on television.
Yes. They're
People that I may
they're
not
envious and jealous of this station.
know.
There are black people and white people, whoever, envious and jealous of Brother R.J. Watkins for having been successful in this station, for the audacity. How dare him, as a black man, have black-centered shows on his network. So, yes, this thing.
How dare he have Noble Drew Ali, most honorable Prophet Noble Drew Ali, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, and the most honorable Marcus Mazel Garvey on the screen.
On the screen.
Of a TV show. Now, I know that everything is
So
crooked.
envy and jealousy is real.
I know everything is crooked and the angle of everything is different, but I'm actually barging in my own show.
Yes, he did. He was in the control room, and I think the topic was so good. I think the topic and all praises are due to Allah, because these are not my words, brother. These are the words of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. I am a servant. This is how I view myself.
Right.
I'm just reading the words that he wrote.
Right.
November 12th, 1971, he wrote this article in Muhammad Speaks. It's 2017. 2017. And we're talking about this topic of envy and jealousy, and everything he wrote in 1971. People are probably nodding their heads as I was reading this material, as you were in the control room, and say, you know what? absolutely right. I want to jump in on this subject and this topic. So I'm grateful and
I
thankful
just
that
wanted
you
to be
did.
seen on television with you.
All praises
I
due
didn't
to
even
Allah.
listen to the subject and the topic.
No.
I was like, Sister Katrina
I
on
know better
television,
than that.
and she is illuminating,
All
and she's so
praises due to
beautiful.
Allah.
So I want to go on here and maybe get some of that stuff rubbed off.
All
on me.
praises due to
Because
Allah.
I want to look that
The
good
compliments
too.
are coming because I totally botched his name. That's what happened. So he's trying to make me feel. He's trying to
She
make me feel
called me
better.
Brother Cook Bay. I was like,
yeah,
who the
no.
heck she talking about? I didn't know that
Wait,
sister got married.
sisters, sometimes we hide behind our scar. Brother Sutton Bay.
Hey, listen, Raw. I just wanted to just step in for a minute and just let everybody know
All
that I'm
praises
proud of
due
my
to
sister,
Allah.
Sister Katrina Muhammad of Muhammad Mosque #1, and
Thank
I'm
you.
grateful to have her a part of the Think Tank Show agenda, because as we speak right now, the Think Tank Show is Sister Katrina Muhammad and Brother Sutton Bay, which is myself. But everything that we bring to the table as far as educating our people is geared towards just that, getting them something that is within them and bringing it out of them so that it can illuminate. We need to understand that this is a teacher right here.
All
This
praises
is
due
not
to
just
Allah.
someone who read a book. This is someone who was educated in the craft of teacherism here in the North America or the United States of America, and is able to give it to you on the level and the same paradigm from teachers is concerned right here in America. So you got to pay attention to what the sister has to say. And I give honors to most of the things that I know of as far as the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Me being a member of the Moorish Science Temple of America, I understand that there's some things that we disagree with, but at the same time that I don't focus on the things that we disagree with. You want to call yourself black or something like that, or brothers and sisters want to call themselves African Americans. I view myself as being a Moorish American, but I don't allow that to hinder me from being able to work with my brothers and sisters who come from the same struggle that I came from, which is the Pan-American or the transatlantic slave trade. Now, I'm not going to sit up here and take too much more of your time, because I know you only got maybe like 18 minutes left in this particular show, but I wanted people to understand that I'm here. I haven't abandoned the ship.
Right.
But the sister is holding down the ship right now, and she's teaching you something, and I trust what it is that she's going to bring to you to be something to better yourself. All you have to do is internalize that. Take notes, research what is being said here on the Think Tank Show so that you're able to better yourselves. And when you find us in error, you're able to call in and say, brother and sisters, that ain't what that is. That's
Right.
not historically accurate. This is how that went. And we're able to better ourselves here. This is a give and take type reciprocity.
Right.
You follow me? So,
But we've been taught that correction is love.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever something is said, it should be corrected immediately, because mistakes shall not exist. This is in our supreme wisdom. It doesn't say that mistakes won't happen. Mistakes and errors do happen, but they shouldn't be allowed to exist. So yes, if anything is said that needs to be corrected, please call in and do
Exactly.
so, because then you show me and you show my brother here that you really do love us, because correction is love. You
and
have
I
to
know
understand that.
most of y'all used to send me with my fez on, but I got a fitted Detroit hat on. It's all black, triple black. But I just need y'all to understand that, I dress
All
down
black,
too.
triple black.
I dress down. I dress down too. I blend in with our people, and that's what's important. A lot of times we need to dumb down certain things, not the knowledge and the understand or wisdom and understanding of what the truth is, but we may have to dumb down how we dress. You might can't come in a suit and tie. You might have to put on a jumpsuit or a tracksuit. You might have to put on a T-shirt and some jeans and a baseball cap and some, some gym shoes, and approach brothers and sisters that will be more receptive to what it
Yeah,
is
more
that you're
comfortable,
bringing,
more amenable,
because
yeah.
how you're dressed. And people we don't take, we take that for granted. We overlook that our presentation is everything.
That's
and
right.
your presentation is just not necessarily what you're saying. It's how you're packaged.
Right.
I'm not finna go into the Jeffrey Projects or the Smith Home Projects on Linden and Evergreen with a suit and tie on, and I'm gonna sit up there and want to try to bond with the brothers and sisters that got on blue jeans and gym shoes. I'm
Right.
gonna put on what they got on
Exactly.
in order for us to break that barrier so that I'm able to step in. So when I when I allow certain things to be brought to you through this medium like Sister Katrina Muhammad, who is a student of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad via the Master Fard Muhammad. These are things that we need to pay attention to, because you will see the commonality that we have, and we're not different. We're not.
No.
There is not much difference, even when you're a Christian. You know, I know a Christian can find some things that they disagree with, as far as the Nation of Islam or the Moorish Science Temple of America is concerned, as far as our dogma or rhetoric or what have you. But at the same time, when you're talking about one aim, one God, one objective, understand that it's not three Muslims behind us in this picture per se. Even though we understand a good Christian is a good Muslim and a
Exactly.
good Muslim is
And
a
we're
good
one
Christian.
ummah. We're one family.
But the Most Honorable Marcus Moselle Garvey was a Christian. Well, Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad in the center was a Muslim. And Prophet Noble Drew Ali, at the same token, was a Muslim and or Muslim, depending on how you pronounce the word. So we're not being discriminatory towards our brothers and sisters of different faith. This is not a religious program. This is a program to educate our people, and at the same time allow our people to dialogue with us, so that we're able to have a conversation right here at this medium that we know is the BWHPR. And it just so happened today, Sister Katrina Muhammad is our teacher, and I'm grateful for it.
And we're talking about envy and jealousy. But before you go back to the control room, I really want to ask you, because I do think envy and jealousy and how it shows itself and how we deal with it is different between men and women, right? So you've been around for a minute to have experienced
47 years.
Okay, to have experienced envy and jealousy. You don't have to necessarily give us the details of what that person did to you, but how did you handle the envy and jealousy when you realized that's what it was? What did you do to secure yourself, right? And maybe even to resolve the situation. Were you able to resolve it?
Well,
What did you do?
I think before I even started to look at envy and jealousy outside of myself, I had to look at envy and jealousy within myself.
Okay.
And that allowed me to be able to identify envy and jealousy in others towards me.
Okay.
Because I viewed it as something that I had hurled out in earlier times that is coming back to the source from which it come. So I had to look at the envy and jealousy that I had within myself towards other people
Okay.
in order for me to identify envy and jealousy in other people,
Right.
because it starts with self.
But have you identified that in others towards you, and what did you do
Yeah,
to either protect yourself or to resolve and have a better relationship with the brother, who was envious and jealous of
it
you?
depends on it depended on the degree in which the envy and jealousy came. If it came aggressive, then I dealt with it accordingly. I'm not the type of person that I'm not at that level where you slap me in my cheek, I'm gonna turn the other cheek
Yeah,
so you
that's
can slap
unrealistic.
me in that
Yeah.
cheek too.
Right.
I dealt with it accordingly.
Right.
If it was verbal, if it was actionary or reactionary, and it wasn't physical, I would deal with it accordingly. If it was physical, I would still deal with it accordingly. But I always had to realize that what I seen in somebody else is something that I also displayed, because I can remember a time when somebody had on a pair of gym shoes in the 80s that I wish I had, and I took it from them. That's envy and jealousy, because that person had it and I didn't have it, and I wanted to take it from them. So I had to put myself back in that position. I had to reflect, because the reflection is the business of man. And when I reflect back on who I was when I was the actual devil and or parasite in my community, and was illuminating hate and jealousy, how did I perceive it? How did I want it to be returned to me? And when it was returned to me, I recognized it for what it was, because it was what I put out there. How I dealt with it in the beginning, and not always, not so intelligently. I dealt with it accordingly, how it came to me.
Did you and the person ever
we
become
bumped heads.
friends?
We bumped. I definitely have some people that was I would perceive to be hateful and jealousy of me because of what I was able to do and get accomplished, that they wasn't able to do and get accomplished, and we actually became associates. I can't say that we became friends, but I can say that we became associates and associated enough to be able to generate finance and help each other in our community and other people in the community.
Okay,
And
that's good.
that's the beauty in being able to recognize what hate and jealousy is, because it starts within yourself, and you would want to ask yourself, how would you want somebody to treat you and or your son or your daughter who is illuminating that particular lower state of self, which is hate and jealousy. And I don't think that you should return hate and jealousy for hate and jealousy.
No, you have to rise above that emotion into the thinking of a God, and you have to fight fire with water, not with more fire.
Well,
All it's going to do is create an explosion. So someone has to be the calm in the storm. Someone has to be the thinker in the situation.
You
But
got a caller.
remember,
You got a
there's
caller. You wanna
no. Oh yes, of course.
Caller, you on the air with
Welcome
the Think
to
Tank
the
Show.
Think Tank Show. Yes, I was going to say that it's important that we are the calm in the storm, that it's not fire with fire. That is not our success, because what's going to end up happening is we'll just end up taking each other out. And that's what we saw in the 80s, and I think maybe even in the 90s with gang wars. And then the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan went on a Stop the Killing tour, right? And so, no, we don't want to, do that. And if someone is envious or jealous of you, you fight that with love and with prayer. But you do have to recognize and understand that Allah is allowing that envy and jealousy to occur. And you have to look at the bigger picture to try to understand, okay, what is the lesson here for me? What is Allah trying to get me to see? Because all of it we've been taught is for our salvation. So, caller, you're on the line. That was me completing my thought. Did you want to share your story of envy and jealousy and what you did to resolve the matter, to either protect yourself or to create a better situation with the person who was envious and jealous of you?
Not only do I want to share a story where someone was envious and jealous of me, but situations when I was envious and jealous of others.
Okay, yes, sir.
So, I think you were quoting Brother Farrakhan's lesson 19 about rising above the emotion. Is that the lesson 19?
What I was reading from, I do have my study guide here, 1 through 9. I wasn't reading number 19. I do have that, but I was actually reading this article written, and it was reprinted. Let me see. It was printed November 12th, 1971 in Muhammad Speaks, and it's entitled Envy and Jealousy, the Mother of Murder. Where's my cover sheet? The Mother of Murder, and it was written by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And I received this information from a beautiful couple that were Brother Frank and Sister Lena Muhammad, of whom are Detroiters. They're originally from Ohio, though, and they're from the first generation. And most recently, I helped the brother in cleaning out his storage unit. His wife, Sister Lena, passed away. May Allah be pleased with her. And in cleaning out his storage unit, he had boxes and boxes of, all kinds of documents and materials from the first generation. I came across this article written by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and I had never seen it before. And I said, you know what, brother, I would be so honored and thankful if you allow me to study this document as well as some other things. And he said, oh, sure, no problem. Take the whole box. And so I have been having a wonderful time going through articles and old issues of Muhammad Speaks from first generation, and it has really opened up my mind. So that's what I was reading from, was an article written by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad on envy and jealousy.
What I was going to say as I was listening to the brother talk was, as I studied the message to the black man in America, and I'm so thankful to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad for giving it that name.
Yes.
because all you had to do was be a black man in America, and I'm knowing that that's talking about the male and female.
Right.
Together we make up man. But he phrased it in a way to where if you fit that criteria, this message is for you.
Right.
And another thing that he began to talk about is bickering, and there's another word that I find in his writings often. It's synonymous with bickering. What's that other term?
Quarreling, to quarrel.
Quarreling.
Right.
Quarreling. Yes. So the way I handle it, quarreling, as soon as I discover that I'm engaged in a quarrel and not a debate that is substantive, I realize that quarreling is coming from within myself. Now, I may project it onto the other person, and it's really easy to project onto the other person, but once you recognize that quarreling is in the midst of you, then you can rest assured, or this is what I understood, that I can rest assured that the quarreling was in me, irrespective of the other person. So that's how I deal with it. I tend to become introspective, and that's how I'm able to put a halt to it. And it's one of the things, sister, that when I call the station and talk on different shows, the thing, and I'm coming from the standpoint of what I have learned through the study of the writings and the examples of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I notice how he handles it when people, because, I didn't know the Honorable Elijah Muhammad except through his writings.
Right.
But I see the conduct of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan when people come against him. Mm-hmm. I see the example that he has, that he provides. So I'm trying to follow that example that I see of him. But one of the things that I say often when I call, I'm always trying to get the people that are listening to my voice to recognize that all of our problems are housed within us, and all of our solutions are housed within us. And as soon as we begin to focus on, say, the white man or this man or that man, we are automatically giving our power and our substance to somebody else, because all of our power is right inside of us. And I was just wondering, back in the day of Malcolm X and all them, they were always talking about the white man this and the white man that. But do you think that it is time for us to begin, and I was going to ask this question and
yeah, because they're telling me I have to wrap it up.
Do you think it's time for us as a people to begin to correct our own behavior, irregardless of, that's not a word, irregardless, regardless of what someone else does, that we should focus more on our own behavior in terms of response and day-to-day conduct? And I'll just hang up and listen.
Yes, sir. Thank you for your call. You're going to have the last word on this subject matter, because that is exactly why I was reading this article, Envy and Jealousy, the Mother of Murder. Notice I didn't associate it with the enemy or with white people doing this, that to each other. I've been concentrating this conversation on what we do to one another. So, yes, in order for us to rise and move as a people and be successful, and I'm talking about as a mass, we have to deal with ourselves and deal with our internal issues that prevent us from moving to the next level. So thank you for joining the Think Tank Show. We're going to talk about this issue again next week. Thank you, caller, for calling in, and thank you, sponsors. Have a blessed and beautiful day. Assalamu alaikum. I hope to see you at the mosque today for study group. It starts at 7 o'clock. Thank you so much. Oh, and the book of the week is the Holy Bible. Please read it. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.